had correct that issue of stopping the run, but evidently they haven't. But I think that North Carolina Central, if anything, they'll outscore Howard.
All right, I agree with you guys. I suspect North Carolina Central will win this game as well, and I'll probably be betting that game while I'm on vacation.
Hey, Evan, even if that Howard team that beat up, remember, they barely beat us. We should have beat us. It don't matter. They're not beating Central. So, trust me, neither one of those games are a benchmark to say, they only beat us 10-9. That's not nothing to brag about.
Well, okay. Let me go over. Let's look at the SWAC, Campbell, because SWAC had some interesting results as well this past weekend. We've already briefly touched on Prairie View homecoming. I don't think that's worthy of any conversation. They did what they were supposed to do. They looked like they played in the first quarter, and then they gave them the rest of the quarters off. Do you guys have anything to say about this?
No, they got not at all. Like I said, stop playing. All of us, stop playing Lincoln. I don't want to see that on nobody's schedule. Stop it.
Yeah. All right, Coach. We can go ahead and go here right now, Coach. I watched this. Me and you, Campbell, hosted a watch party on this game. We watched every play. We were joined by Scotty. I thought the ebbs and flows of this game was tremendous, meaning that Jackson State got off to a great start. Even after their quarterback was hurt, they were able to get a field goal and was leading 10-0. And due to some what I would consider really, I ain't gonna say miraculous, but there were some things that just fell Gramblin's way to where they were able to get 9 points in the second half, in the second quarter, which once you become 9-10 going into the third quarter, they made it a game. And they were able to control most of the game. Jackson State came back, but in not so SWAC fashion, Grambling was able to execute a 44-yard field goal with 21 seconds left to go in the game and to secure the victory. So I'll just start with you, Campbell. Well, I'll go to Coach because Coach was at the game. Me and you shared our thoughts with each other during the game. Coach, what was your feeling during this game? You said that you thought Jackson State was in control of the game. What do you think was the pivotal play that kind of switched the momentum, other than the injury, of course? What kind of switched the momentum of this game?
Well, I thought the one turnover, and I thought right before the half, Grambling went in the half with a field goal of down to 10-9. And at that time, they almost scored then, but I felt then the game was turning. It was turning. It was like Jackson State was trying to find themselves, like lost their way after the first quarter, like, because they were gashing them right, left, running the ball right, left. They missed a couple people wide open, missed a couple shots. And then at halftime, Grambling made some adjustments. Jackson State came out again, I thought, pushing the ball down the field, but then started putting that ball up in the air. And that just wouldn't happen. And then one would say the football gods, where, Grambling was, moving the ball left and right. T-Set was making the right choices. And when you let a team stay around like that, man, funny things happen. And that's the way I see it. I think if Grambling played Jackson State again, I don't think it would be a contest. That's why I just thought that Jackson State just I don't know. I don't want to say they didn't play to win, but they didn't do a lot of things, I think, strategy-wise, that if they went back, I'm pretty sure TC is kicking itself saying that I should have attacked them a different way.
Coach, what I see that's peculiar about this stat line, they have one running back that's 11 for 98. They have Lockhart, who's 7 for 44. And then they have Ahmad Miller, who is 11 for 24 yards, Coach. That leads me to believe that either he was ineffective or maybe when he was in the game, they were playing him for the run almost. You know what I mean?
Right.
Nowadays you only play with one back in the backfield. So, Campbell, what was your assessment of that? We both agreed that nephew was really gashing him, but it just seemed like he wasn't getting enough carries. Like he would carry the ball a couple times, and then they swap it out. He carried the ball a couple times, they swap him out.
You want to keep these backs fresh, but I just think again when you got the hot hand, I think you just got to give these guys. And, and Coach could talk about this more. Are these guys even prepared to do the 25, 30 carries like when we were coming through? That's another thing, too. I don't know if these guys they have the stamina to do it. And I think that's why they want to keep these guys fresh instead of back when we were growing up. As they say, the running backs got stronger as the game went along. And so those are things when you kind of looked at it. And then also, too, I think Coach hit it right on the head. Jackson had a game plan where they felt was going to beat Grambling, and that incorporated a lot more passing. I think for a lot of people that watched the Jackson State team, thought would happen. So I think they wanted to pass the ball, which they did do. But once again, Jackson State's bread and butter is that running game. And I think once, this is the first time I saw TC, and I love watching the game on TV when they have the print. You could tell now he's like, we're in a game now. You know what I mean? And you could see him kind of thinking of what are we going to do and stuff like that. So it was really one of those ones that I think that Jackson State kind of got caught, to Coach's point. I think they came in a little bit overconfident. I think they thought they were going to come out there, just wipe the slate with them and also get back from last year. But I'm going to say this again, and I told everybody on every show I was on, and I told Mike this, there is something different between Grambling and Jackson State. I told you all on this show, it's about football. Grambling has beaten Jackson State 19 times since 2000. Understand that. Those G-men are not scared of Jackson. Never have and never will. And they come in there with that level of arrogance every time they play Jackson State.
Yeah. When you look at they passing, they were 50% in passing, a little bit under 50%, which is terrible. You want to be at 60%. You rushed 180 some yards. Is that 198 yards, man, on 45 carries. I mean, you moving the football. I think that they don't get that ball to Rembrandt enough. Nate Rembrandt. I mean, he caught one big one, man. He ran it down. I think they can do a lot more with him. It's just a different game. He has so many weapons. Losing the quarterback don't mean you got to put everything on the quarterback. You can start getting the ball to your other playmakers anywhere and any way you can. I just, I know TC is looking back on this game and said I could have done a lot of things better than I did. And I think he'll make his corrections.
And Coach, can you talk about Coach Joseph and what he did to kind of orchestrate this victory? And what actually, because T-Set was really effective in this game. They were able to run the ball enough to keep Jackson State honest. And the interesting thing to me, if I go down here and I think about it, I don't recall a sack. Do you recall a sack, Campbell? I don't recall.
Let me tell you this. It's not so much you recall a sack. You didn't hear Ivory's name called in the game. That big play defensive end, you didn't hear him make an impact on the game. And that was the thing about it. Williams kind of had a good game, but Ivory is the guy, as you guys know, that has been game in, game out, that has made the big play. They shut him down. Grambling's offensive line, which we kind of talked about a little bit, and Coach, is known for those big, strong guys from North Louisiana that come because somebody sent them up there. They kind of look like the old Grambling offensive line. They kept people off of T-Set's back, and he was able to make play. Even when the young guy came in there, they gave him hold again to get that big 4th and 9.
Yeah. T-Set played a good game. He sat in that pocket. He got out when he needed to. As I always tell my quarterbacks, make us win. If it ain't there, give me 3.5 yards so we could continue to move the chain. I thought that Grambling got the ball to their playmakers a lot more. I thought that, they found a couple spots in there because they want to run the football too, and they ran the football well as well. Defensively, they made some good adjustments on the defense side of the ball. And, Jackson State missed about 2 or 3 different fade routes or go routes that should have been touchdowns.
Yeah. Hey, Coach, we actually gave Mississippi Valley a chance in this game, Coach. I think you guys picked.
I really thought this. I just thought after Alcorn, after them losing to us, I really thought they were going to be down. But I got to Gil Coach said, Tommy, he got those guys up, and they said, we're not going to be embarrassed. And it was clear because I think it was, 22-0 before Mississippi Valley scored. So
no. Yeah, it was 22-0.
Yeah, 22-0. So, Gil Coach said picking those guys off the mat, this is not what Alcorn expected. But again, there's certain games that you want to have pride, and this was a pride game for them. And they said, we're not going to let Valley come in here and embarrass us down here on the reservation.
Coach, did anything about this game stick out? I know you gave Valley a chance at first, and then I think you switched it back.
Yeah. I was great to say, Coach. Yeah. Growing pains at Valley, first year, new offense coordinator, new head coach. Like Coach said, man, Coach put things together for Alcorn and said, he a good coach. Just unfortunate, that he lost some close ones, open up this season, but a great victory for him. Maybe he can get things rolling and get them back on the right track before the season's over.
Coach, he got his first Division I win, Coach, in week 8? And so he's got 4 games left to kind of salvage his season. But it won't be easy, Coach, because when you look at it, Coach, let's look who he has left. You got Texas Southern, Grambling, Jackson State. That's not easy. That's not going to be easy, Coach.
And every one of those teams other than Southern have something to play for.
Right.
Yeah. So we'll see, Coach. And then the Bethune-Cookman and Arkansas Pine Bluff, it went the way we all thought it would. Bethune-Cookman was dominant on offense. They were able to run it at a high clip. They passed it efficiently. And then, they somewhat controlled. This is one of the better showings from the Bethune-Cookman defense, Coach. Has Bethune-Cookman fixed something with their defense, or did they just play Arkansas Pine Bluff?
But you were talking to Coach Rocky?
Yeah.
Oh, Bethune-Cookman, man, put up numbers, and everybody is scoring against Pine Bluff's defense. I think.
No. What I was saying is, but this was the best outing, one of the best outings for Bethune-Cookman's defense. Did they find something on their defense, or did they just play Pine Bluff?
I would say they just played Pine Bluff. Ain't no question.
Campbell?
Yeah, this is more a function of Pine Bluff than, Bethune finding something. I think what Bethune has found is that they got an offense that can score. And I think that bodes well. But again, I think this is more of just a function of UAPB. They're not a good team. You see the frustration of the coach every time he comes on the weekly conference call. So, and with Bethune's homecoming, which they hadn't won, I think, in the last 5 tries. So I think this was big for them also.
Coach, this game right here, I can just sum it up by this here, Coach.
On a count of 3, if you at home with me. 1, 2, 3. Andrew Buddy! Stop playing with that man.
Coach, I know you've seen a lot of dynamic quarterbacks in the SWAC. Is this going to be a season to remember for a quarterback, what Andrew Body has put together so far?
You know, it's just so unfortunate that he hadn't had an opportunity to really display, in the last 2 years. Playing for Texas Southern, losing program. Everybody know he got hurt. And now it's he's doing what everybody thought he would do. You know what I'm saying?
Not everybody, Coach. There were some people who had their doubts now.
Yeah. Well, hey, too bad for them. But we don't know, man. You might as well go and buy your tickets for him now, because you might not see him in the SWAC next year. With all this portal stuff going on. Because let me tell you something, he can do it, man. He's worked on his accuracy, his more accuracy of throwing the football. He wasn't as accurate as he is now. Of course, his body strength, the things that he do with the football, man, he's special. He's special.
Hey, Coach, the thing about me is, Coach, he's not throwing the ball. He's getting 300 yards, and he's not throwing the ball 30 times a game, Coach. He's throwing about 25, Coach. He's throwing about 25.
He's throwing strikes like 25 and 30-yard passes like on a rope. That's Steve McNair balls, Coach. And I've seen Steve all 4 years, Coach. This kid is special, man. He's doing some special things.
Campbell, as our historian, right? And again, Campbell, I'll put you in that category of personnel that saw what he did at Texas Southern, but you wasn't sure it could translate into championship football. You expressed that on this show. Are you surprised, impressed? What's your thoughts about this?
No, I'm not surprised. I wanted him to be healthy because you knew the talent was there. So the thing about it was, the biggest thing was, could he be accurate? He's throwing. You understand something? He's at 70% clip of completion percentage. That was always the weakness in his game, him completing passes. So the thing about it, what he really is now, he won't have one of those crazy Bruce Eugene, Kent, Steve McNair numbers where we talk about 45 touchdowns and 4,000 yards, but he's gonna have one of the most efficient seasons ever in the SWAC. Because he's at 20 touchdowns and 1 interception. So he'll probably finish up what they got. How many games? What are they at? 7 games? They got 5 more games to go. If they don't make the SWAC championship. But they're playing 12. They should be playing 12 games this year. So, So you got 5 more games. They played 7, so it's 5 more. They should have, I think. Right?
I think he only has, he's 5 games, Coach.
Yeah, they play 12. So that'll get him probably right around 2,500 yards, probably outside shot of getting 30 touchdowns. He'll keep the interception. That's a crazy, crazy stat, and again, we'll probably definitely be offensive MVP. So, man, I just love it. Hey, man, Coach, your frat brother was shimmying all in the end zone. The Lion brothers were shimmying with him, boy. Them Cowboys were showing up down there at the Magic City Classic.
Coach, let me ask you this, Coach. Is it possible this year that Andrew Body could? Now, this is just we've already had a year where he ran for 600 yards. We've already had a year where he also ran for 500 yards. Could this be a year where he throws for 3,000 and also runs for 1,000?
Coach, they've been beating people so bad that they pull him out. They pull him out the game. I really don't think they have released him. That what he really, really could do. I mean, he probably could throw 400 or 500 yards in a game. But they've been beating people pretty good where he's not playing full games.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's only at 1,600 yards. That means he got to go for another 1,400. Yeah, that's a lot in 5 games. And Coach saying it's going to be a game where they're just not going to they're going to be up.
Right.
And
well, that's how they've been doing.
And Coach Roberts just not going to throw the ball. I mean, the running attack is still good. So again, like I told you, he's not going to have one of those magical seasons as far as numbers. It's still going to be magical because of the efficiency of the season. That's what's going to be so incredible about it.
Right.
All right, Coach. In our last game that we're going to cover from last week is I'll let Campbell tell us about what did this game mean for the Rattlers against y'all arch rival Southern University.
I listened to Perry. It was interesting. Perry like, well, this ain't a rivalry. The young guys don't really know and all that. Yeah, it ain't a rivalry because we beat y'all. You know what I'm saying? You don't care about it no more because you've been beaten so many times by. And they really thought this was one of the Southern, they were chirping. Crook, and he's over there, I think, at another show watching it. But we're gonna beat FAMU ain't this and FAMU ain't that. But once again, you gotta play the game, you gotta beat them. And that's what we did. So one of the things that man, listen, what the interesting thing is that we get the victory, but then there was another question like, where's Haley? This kid Haley come from? Why has he not been playing? This kid was totally explosive because during we had a simultaneous watch party. And Rocky, as you're watching Jack State, I'm watching this game, and I'm seeing this kid going for 30, 40 yards without being caught. You know what I mean? You saw Goldie Lawrence make a big play. Finally saw our speed guys be Florida fans, as I like to say. So big plays. And the one thing, Coach, that when you start making big plays, it takes a lot of pressure off your offense because you don't have to go 15, 20 plays to get a touchdown. Those big plays are shock plays, and it also demoralizes the defense. And that's really what I think happened. So, Cozy, I think this was one of the best games that he coached. He still had a questionable call on 4th and 1 where he went with RJ instead of punting the ball. But I think he was just trying to show his team that he believed in them. So I'm going to give him a pass on that because it worked out in the end. But, hey, listen, this is where we wanted to see these speed guys to get big plays because that's what we've been asking for. The guys are catching the ball. And RJ Johnson was efficient. He hasn't been great, but he plays an efficient game. So what he's going to have to do is do double that when they play Jackson State.
Hey, Coach, I know you didn't get a chance to see this game because you were in Vegas. Mm-hmm. But I can honestly say, Coach, the Southern offense was much improved. We haven't seen anything like this from Southern the entire year. Coincidentally, we find out just before kickoff that one of the reasons why Terrence Graves was let go is because he had agreed to turn over play calling responsibility to Fred McNair. And for whatever reason, he realizes that the AD realized that hadn't done 4 weeks after him and the coach had agreed to turn play calling duties over to Fred McNair. Have you ever heard anything like that? Or let me say this, Coach. When you agree to something with the AD, how important is it for you to follow through with that related to how you're going to do business on game day?
Well, I mean, it's a negative thing whenever the AD calls you in and start making football suggestions. When that comes, there's some friction, there's some issues, and there's some problems. It's unprofessional to me or for athletic director to come in and start coaching. When it get that bad, it's bad. I just think they've been listening to us on this show. I just be honest. They've got that ball to who we talked about for the last 3-4 weeks that should be carrying that ball 20 times plus a game. That's the Kid Holly kid. These are 2 football teams that's still trying to find themselves. Florida A&M ain't scored 40 points in the last 2 years. Southern ain't scored 35 points in a while. You know what I'm saying? They're just 2 football teams floating in the night, kind of, with all this ammunition they have, but trying to put it together, And fortunately they did, and Florida A&M kind of outdone them. I still think these two teams hadn't reached their potential at all. You know.
Now, I will say this, Coach. This is just my interpretations of what happened. Campbell may disagree with me. I don't think from a coaching standpoint we really saw any improvement by Cozy. That's my opinion, and I'll stand by it. What happened is I believe the offense was bailed out by some big plays by Haley, and I think RJ hit a big play late in the game. You know what I mean? I think that's what kind of happened. Now, you can say, well, the guys made the big plays. Well, true enough, but can you depend on big plays to move the ball consistently, Coach? That's what I would ask you.
Asking me?
Yeah, can you depend on big plays to move the ball consistently?
Well, you got to put some things together, and hopefully you're setting up some things to get the big plays. But no, there's not a lot of big plays in a game, period. Usually you chop away and you get first downs and you move it down. But you definitely do need big plays in a game to make it happen. You know what I mean? Like I said, I just feel that these two football teams hadn't reached their potential. We know one of the reasons on the southern side is, they got probably the best back, maybe even one of the best backs in black college football, and you wouldn't even give him the ball 9 and 10 times a game. You give it to him 26, where'd he go for 145? I mean, that's what I'm talking about. Florida A&M, they trying to put together. Ain't no question they got athletes down there. Ain't no question they got speed on that football team. It's that they got to be able to get in that office and put it together and get the ball to the playmakers.
If my memory holds it correct, they threw a screen to Wilshire, and then they had the 2 runs by Haley in the second half. Is that right, Coach? Is that right, Campbell? Am I
yeah, Golden Lawrence caught that long one, and Wilshire caught a big one. But as you see, Golden was that 74-yard pass, and then Haley put those touchdowns. And then remember, R.J. Johnson ran for a nice run to put it in there.
Yeah. So what I'm saying, do you think it was big plays that bailed them out, or did you see some improvement in how they were prepared and how they execute?
Well, what I've always said, you got to get the ball. We hadn't seen the ball get into our playmakers. This is the first time you saw where there was a concerted effort, where you saw guys being set up for plays, like Coach said, to be successful, to make big plays. Because when you got fast guys, a big play can happen at any time. But are you putting them in a position where now, like I say, you saw what's been told to me that Henry Burris has gone up to the booth. He's seeing the field much better. And now this is where you're seeing the plays. The offense is starting to come around. Of course, we played all quarter to Southern, but the bottom line is we played these games and we still couldn't score points. Hence the Howard game, right? We didn't score any points against Howard. Howard, to me, is not any better or any worse than Southern. And I think what you saw was more detail. And you saw, again, because when you can run the ball and a guy like Haley, because Haley was not also just getting long runs, he was getting positive runs. That was also the key, too. Because those, you got to understand something, he carried the ball 19 times.
Yeah.
That Franklin carried the ball before he got hurt. So what you finally saw is, and you saw the offensive line getting to the second level. I hadn't seen that the whole season. But offensive line was getting to the second level. So, like I say, again, we'll see what happens. But like I say, take that as a positive and can move forward.
Hey, Coach, we're going to try to rapid fire this and get these picks done, and so we can wrap this up. We've been on here a pretty long time, so let's go ahead and get it done. Coach, we're going to start it. We're going to start with what I would like to call the toilet bowls. So we got Mississippi Valley and Bethune-Cookman. I got Bethune-Cookman. Who you got, Campbell?
It's an easy choice. That's Bethune-Cookman. Because, like I say, Bethune finally, for the first time since they've been this way, they got something to play for. They're not going to play around with Mississippi Valley. And this is the time when you start to tune up your offense. You start making sure the attention to detail. Because I think right after that, maybe if I'm correct, they play Jackson State. So, and they're bringing the band. So I think this is one of those tune-up games that they say, hey, let's get everything together so we prepare to go to play Jackson.
Man, Bethune-Cookman, man, they're a scoring machine, 3-1 in the SWAC. They still trying to sneak up in there. They got hope.
All right. Arkansas Pine Bluff is hosting Southern. I'm gonna take Southern on this one. I love what I saw in the fighting Fred McNair's.
They lose to Arkansas Pine Bluff. They need to clean everybody out. Everybody, the janitor, the guy, everybody. Southern definitely need to get this win. They definitely need to get this win. They playing the team that can get them. Pine Bluff is not very good on defense.
If Southern loses this game, that team will not be able to come back to Baton Rouge. I'm telling you that right now. They can accept. I think Southern can accept the losing to the name brand teams. They kind of understand that. Even if FAMU is not a good team as of right now, but it's FAMU and they haven't beaten us. But if they lose to Arkansas Pine Bluff with Trey Holland, and that team has talent. Not defensively. Defensively, they don't. I mean, other than, of course, they have individual talent. They're not a talented defense. So I want to be clear on that. But no, I think that they really try to take what they took against FAMU and put it again against Arkansas Pine Bluff.
All right, guys. And of course, I'm going to take Southern as well. Coach, Texas Southern, your alma mater, hosts Alcorn State. If I'm not mistaken, they've put it on Alcorn State the last couple times this game has happened. I'm going to take Texas Southern. I know Coach is going to take Texas Southern. Campbell, it's on you.
This is a game that Texas Southern better watch and not get tripped up by. Now, remember, if you guys remember, I think Alcorn went down there on a Sunday and got tripped up, not paying attention.
No, Coach. They didn't get tripped up. They got squashed.
Well, the score. But they were expected to win this game because this was a game that they thought if they win, they would win the SWAC West. So it's the same thing with Texas Southern. Texas Southern has something to play for. Because if you just look at what we'll talk about a later game, their favorite, their rival should not be favored. So again, this puts them right where they need to be at in striking distance and see what happens as the season goes on. So Texas Southern should not play around with this game. But Alcorn, I think, again, is going to play hard. But I think Texas Southern definitely takes them out.
Coach, was I correct in your assessment of picking Texas Southern?
It's going to be a close game, Coach. With Texas Southern and Prairie View, they play the same type of game. Alcorn, played Prairie View real tough. So I think it's going to be a close game, but I got Texas Southern because they're at home. And hopefully they don't turn the ball over.
All right. Now, this is an interesting game right here, considering all the extenuating circumstances that are going on. Looks like they both will be playing with backup quarterbacks. To Gramblin's benefit, this game will be played in the hole. Gramblin's coming off a huge victory. Alabama State is coming off a really debilitating loss. Under any other circumstance, I would pick Grambling to win this game. But I just don't know their quarterback situation. So I'll let you guys pick first, and then I'll go behind you guys.
Yeah, Grambling likes to run the ball. I didn't like the backup quarterback that came into the game. I thought he was unprepared. He did make a big play. But Alabama A&M is struggling defensively. And I'm going to pick Grambling in a close one.
Game is down at Grambling. Alabama A&M has not had great success, even when they had Glass and those boys. I think Grambling, again, I think they're going to probably announce, some positive movement with T-Set to make everybody feel comfortable. I think they're going to play for T-Set. And I think, even though, like the coach said, they've got a rookie quarterback playing for Grambling, I think Alabama A&M just is not going to get it done. But I will say this. If Alabama A&M can put points up, which they have been able to do, then they can get the upset.
Coach, Coach, I'm gonna go with Grambling too. I think it's just down in the hole. I think ultimately Alabama A&M's defense just isn't that good. And if nothing else, Grambling is going to be able to run the ball. And that'll be enough for them to shorten the game. And I look for Grambling to win in a close one. All right. This next game, Coach, when this game was announced, when we started looking down the schedule and after the season had started, it didn't look like Cosley might not even be in Tallahassee for this game. Not only will Cosley be in Tallahassee for this game, but Cosley will be hosting Jackson State, and they're a live opponent in this game. They're live, which means they have the potential of upsetting the Jackson State team. Will be coming in, probably starting a true freshman quarterback. I'm going to go ahead and pick this game. I'm going to pick Jackson State, and the reason why Jackson State is going to win this game is because TC is going to adjust his game plan, and he's going to run the football. He's going to shorten the game. Florida A&M is going to continue to make mistakes like they have been. They're going to fumble the football. R.J. Johnson's going to throw an interception. That's why I think Jackson State's going to win. What you say, Coach Cole?
I like Jackson State. Florida has to play a little more consistent. I think Jackson's defense is very good. They do some good things. The two quarterbacks, they're not bad guys. And I just see T.C. Taylor making an adjustment with his football team and getting them going in the right direction. And they got something to play for. Florida A&M got something to play for as well. They only got one loss too, but I got to go with Jackson State.
It's on you, Campbell.
Listen, everything that you guys said is 100% facts. Jackson State probably will be the overwhelming favorite. They're defending national champions. They've got the better defense. The coaching has been better. And with all that being said, you still got a freshman quarterback. And that Bragg Stadium is going to be packed. This is the first time this whole year when I have finally heard the Rattler energy saying, we want to play some football. So here's what I'll tell you. And I'll talk more about this game on Thursday. So that's when I'll give my pick. Maybe tomorrow because I got to do the show with Mike. But here's what I'll say about the keys to FAMU. Big plays, turnovers, and I'm saying put that freshman on his back because that Bragg Stadium is going to be packed. The sonic boom is coming, so you're going to have to march at 100. Finally going to be able to go heads up against a top band. And, man, I think it's going to be electric. You're going to be able to see that light show. And I think this is the one, if Cosley wants to show and shut, and I text Coach Cosley this, and I literally said, shut us all up, Coach, because we don't mean anything. We do not mean anything. You're the coach of this football team, and you got to coach these boys. So it's on him. So what we'll see is if they understand the assignment, and, again, we did not want anybody to be injured, but they are going to be playing a freshman quarterback that has not played in an environment like Bragg.
Let me ask you this, Coach Cole, before we get out of here, and we got one more game to pick. But a coach, I don't know if you've ever been in this situation. Can a coach like Cozy kind of salvage what looked to be a disappointing season by winning a game like this?
Oh, man. I mean, without a doubt. I mean, those people up in the office are like microwave ovens, man, or what have you done for me lately? I think if we get after this game, I think the team will be – I think they found themselves. I told them they like two ships floating in the with talent, floating, trying to figure out who we are. And if they beat a Jackson State, they might don't found who we are. And you never know, man, that east side might change all the way. Because ain't no question there's some football players in Florida A&M. Putting them together is the problem. I don't think it's the players. I think it's an internal thing that they got to put some things together.
Yeah. I think let me ask you this, Cameron. Will this game determine win or loss? Now, I'm not saying whether win or losing, he'll keep his job, but will how they look in this game factor into whether or not Coach is
Well, I think, yeah, because what you don't want to happen is, because remember, teams that if you talk about on the higher level, we lost, 45-7 to Central. We lost, 42 to something to Alabama State, who had never beaten us since we've been in the SWAC. We had beaten Central the last 2 or 3 times. We played Jackson State tough. So if you're coming down there, and when I'm talking about with an energized crowd, the Marching 100, the Sonic Boom of the South, again, this game means something, which has always meant something since we've been in the SWAC. And Jackson State comes and rolls us 40-something to 7. There's going to be a lot of disappointment. So what I will say to Florida A&M's football team, you want to show that you have been improving and that you're here to play this football game. And again, they have a freshman quarterback. That levels the playing field somewhat. Jackson State's still the more talented team, and there's no doubt about that. But having a freshman quarterback down in Bragg Stadium, and Coach knows this, freshmen are freshmen until they become sophomores.
All right, our last game we're going to pick, and this is the biggest game in my opinion. These guys will get a chance to play early and then go watch Jackson State play. Let me kind of figure it. Both of these teams will be watching the Jackson State Prairie View game for different reasons. If Alabama State wins, they'll be watching to see if they can somehow unseat Jackson as the East champion. Prairie View will be, if they win the game, they'll be watching to make sure so that will give them some indication that they will be the host team for the SWAC, no matter what happens. If they beat Alabama State and Jackson State loses, I think that guarantees that no matter what happens, they will host the SWAC championship. What do you think, Coach?
If Jackson State loses, you got Florida A&M and Bethune-Cookman vying for trying to knock them off. If Jackson State loses, man, they could be out of the running altogether. You know what I'm saying?
No. What I'm saying is if Jackson State loses, does that pretty much put Prairie View in the driver's seat?
Oh, yeah.
If they beat Alabama State to host the SWAC championship, that's what I'm saying.
You know, that's tricky. But you said if Jackson State loses, right?
If Jackson State loses and Prairie View wins,
yeah, they would host they would be hosting the championship game.
With Alabama A&M, Arkansas Pine Bluff, and Mississippi Valley left, couldn't it be with Jackson State having 2 losses and them already have beaten Alabama State? Wouldn't they have secured?
Well, I'll answer that question. That's what it is, because you look at it, they wouldn't have any losses. Alabama State already has 1. If you're saying that they beat Alabama State, that's 2 losses. So that pretty much guarantees it. No matter what happens, what Jackson State does either way.
Right. Home field and whoever comes from the West.
Yeah.
The
East.
The East, yeah. Because you still got 3 teams in the East with only 1 conference loss.
Well, what I'm saying is they don't play Bethune-Cookman, right?
Who, Jackson State?
No, Prairie View.
We already know that if Jackson State loses, Prairie View should have home field advantage.
Okay, that's what I'm saying.
But I'm saying Jackson State, we don't know if Jackson State will be representing the West.
Oh, well, I mean,
because you got 3 teams in the West with only 1 loss.
The East.
The East, man, I'm confused.
Right. So let's kind of break that down. The thing about why Alabama State is in a really good position, they've already beaten FAMU, they've already beaten Bethune-Cookman. Jackson State still has to play Bethune-Cookman. They still have to play FAMU. So that's why Alabama State is really sitting in a really good position and looking at their schedule other than this game right here. That's why it's so important for them also to win this game. So everybody, this is one of those a game of the year type games where everybody has to play. So for Alabama State, they have to keep pace. So they have to win this game. They lose this game, they're out. Because even if Jackson State loses, Jackson State beat them head to head. So this could be an elimination game for Alabama State.
And I'll say this: if Alabama State, and this is why it's critical for Prairie View, in my opinion, just my opinion. If Alabama State defeats Prairie View, right, that what means is that there's a chance that Prairie View won't be hosting the SWAC championship.
They'll be right there in Montgomery.
Or Jackson State.
Jackson State.
Yeah. So that's what I was trying to point out is it's not Jackson's odds are Prairie View's going to the West, going to represent the West. But this game will factor in where the championship is played, is the point I was getting. And in my opinion, Prairie View doesn't have enough firepower to hold off Alabama State, in my opinion.
And that's the problem, Rocky, right there. That's the thing that Prairie View, because see, Alabama State can play both ways. They can play an ugly game and win it with 21-17, 21-20, or hey, you want to get up there where we want to get up to, 35, 40 points? Yeah, let's do that. And Prairie View just doesn't have the offensive firepower. But here's the thing about it, and I'm saying this because TJ watches this, this is what you hired them for games like this. Their defense has played well. They've been consistent. They have not played a high-powered offense like Alabama State. So now we see what your coaching comes in at. And can he, again, the blueprint is always there. Turnovers, run the ball, and keep the game close, just like Delaware State did with Central.
I agree. Coach, what do you think? Alabama State, the least points they've scored all year is 30 points. If they get to 30, can Prairie View outscore them?
No.
Not even close.
Prairie View hadn't shown that they could score. I mean, they put 38 on Lynchburg. I don't care if you did take your starters out or whatever. That makes it tough. Prairie View is definitely going to have to hold Alabama State down. You know, they're going to be counting on the defense. Offensively, they hadn't been able to put the numbers up. So it's a big test, man. You got great defense playing great offense.
You know, my concern with Prairie View is that they had some really good showings, but if they have their worst offensive game, they put up 13. If they have their best their best offensive output, they're at 38, Coach. And if they score 38 against against Alabama,
don't even mention Lincoln, right? Come on.
No. I'm just saying, no. My point is, if they score 38, they still could lose against Alabama State. Like in a low-scoring game, it seems like that doesn't give them much chance to win. But if they do score 38, that's almost like playing into Alabama State's hands. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. Almost damned if you do, damned if you don't, damned if you do. What do you say, Coach? Is there a game plan that can hold Andrew Body and Alabama State under the Prairie View average, which I think is like 24 points?
Yeah, well, they got to be able to tackle an open field. They got to be able to maintain and keep Body in the pocket. And when he breaks, they got to be able to tackle it, period. If Alabama State is good on first down, it's going to be a long day for Prairie View. That way they stay out of predictable downs where they're keeping Alabama State in third and long, where they can play their 3-2-5 defense. If Alabama State is good on first downs, it'll be a long night for Prairie View.
Hey, Coach, you mean they playing with 10 people?
Well, they got 3 down linemen, 2 linebackers, and they got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 defensive backs.
So they missing one person, Coach. Where they put the other
3-5.
person?
Say what now?
They're playing a 3-3-5.
Yeah, they'll play him to the field. I'm sorry.
So the extra player will be to the field.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Shit, it's been a long day for me, guys.
I get it, Coach. Hey, Coach, and on that note, I got Alabama State. Who you got, Campbell?
I mean, this is simple, man. Alabama State, again, for Prairie View to win it, I'll tell you the score of what it's got to be. It's got to be a 24-21 game with 2 to 3 turnovers for them to win the game, and like a block punt. Grambling is the blueprint for how to beat Alabama State, how they did Jack State, but that's not going to happen. I think Eddie Robinson understands, and you heard it in his voice. He knows what they got to do. They're going to put 35 points on that board.
What about you, Cam? I mean, what about you, Coach? Who you got?
Man, it's just, Prairie View gonna have to score more. It's just gonna be one of those nights, unless and I just don't think they've shown me that they're that good up front where they can make Alabama State one-dimensional. Or Prairie View gonna have to move that ball and score some points. So I take Alabama State by 10 points.
Okay.
Hey, Rocky, real quick, and just because I saw somebody say, hey, look at the history. I think Alabama State is 1-9. I think I saw that. But let me tell you something. This is not the same as Jack State and Grambling. This is not where you have a strong rivalry where funny things just happen. That's more of a function of who had the better team at the better time. So I just don't think that really comes into play. If this was, like I say, a Southern FAMU, a Jack State Grambling, those traditional losses and wins come into play. I don't think this is the type of game that comes into play here. They don't play each other enough for that to matter.
I know Prairie View in recent history, went to Alabama State and got a victory. Those were those Alabama State teams that were struggling on offense for the
exactly. Yeah. I don't think and usually when you say that, it's because it goes back to my point about the Grambling thing. It's a thing that's a tradition. Hey, we're not scared of these guys. We always be. I don't think that Prairie View has that type of, it's Alabama State. We always beat that. Prairie View, to me, they can't make that, like Coach TJ said, we ain't good enough to be talking like that. We haven't accomplished anything to be talking like that.
Now, last thing, Coach, as Coach TJ, who has essentially wrapped up the SWAC West, is this a measuring stick game for his program as to where they are?
Well, I think he thinks that as well. I mean, he's not a fool. He knows he's on fool's gold. He's on his honeymoon. I mean, he's a confident coach, but he knows where he at. He knows he's tiptoeing through the tulips. He knows that. There's been a couple games that he won that he might have been in question.
Yeah. It looked like we had old coach
game turning the ball over. They going
Throws up on us.
Yeah, that's what it kind of looked like, that he froze up on us. Maybe they having some of the same internet problems they're having in Jackson.
TJ don't want Coach to tell none of his secret. That's why he did it. He called on the Prairie View engineer and say, hey, shut that down. Coach started to talk too much.
No, but I think hey, now you can go, Coach. You good now.
Okay. No, it ain't no secret with Tremaine of knowing where his program is. And is that You know, he's got to be better offense talking. I mean, the best defense. Offense has moved the ball against everybody. Let's not make no mistake. Everybody, Division 1A, 2A.
They got him.
they got him again, Co. Oh yeah, them Prairie View guys don't want him even comment.
Don't want to comment.
Yeah, Coach. I think we're gonna get out of here though, Mr. Campbell. As Coach. Oh, there he is. Coach, are you there?
Oh, so y'all couldn't hear me?
Nah.
Oh wow.
You like new money now, Coach.
Oh. Man, like I said, real quick, Tremaine and them, he knows that they got to score the football. They got to score. And the best thing is, the best defense is when the offense can keep the other offense off the field, you know, keep it. When you play those great quarterbacks like Body, Steve McNair, Willie Totten, Darnell Kennedy, Eugene, man, you got to keep those guys off the field, man. If you don't keep them off the field, shit, man, it's going to be tough beating them. Or you're going to have your greatest output night. Who is this, PV versus – I seen y'all show. Hey, man, that 23-16, man. Hey, man, you can wrap that up and throw it in the trash can and sit it out. You got to score more than 23 points. I'm telling you. This kid can do it, man. He can do it. And look, hey, I've seen the great ones. I've been around the great ones. He can do it.
Coach, the one thing that I'll say is they do the offensive line, to be honest, even against UAB, Coach, they did a great job of protecting that kid. They did a great job of protecting it. And so I just, you know, I don't see a scenario, and Lionel is my man. I don't see a scenario where you hold Alabama State to 16 points. I just don't. But unless is it going to be a monsoon or something like that? Is it going to be wet in Prairie View? Is the hurricane that's in Jamaica going to somehow make its way to Prairie View? I don't know.
Hell, Body averaged 16 points a game. Himself. So, you know, look, I'm not saying that they can't do it at Prairie View. They don't held everybody they have, but they hadn't played Jackson State, nor have they played Alabama State.
And this is my last comment, Coach, about it. And Campbell, you can comment on it, whatever. I don't think Prairie View, as much success as they had this season,
BS3 Network, changing the way you watch TV.